Ahoy, landlubbers and swashbucklers, nieces and nephews, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in. It is I, Uncle Valk, and I am so happy to present to you guys everything that we have just been gifted. Now, this past weekend, we just had the World Championships conclude with Hazama Ray, one of the perennial Hall of Fame fighters, winning the championship. And now, right as he win, we suddenly got the announcement for the biggest wave of free rewards being given out to all players that I pretty much seen in my 5.5 years of playing the game. Now, this will all start from the day this video is published, September the 2nd. The moment you are watching this video, this event should be live, and it will be going for 2 months, giving out free rewards every day. And we'll be getting an absolute crazy amount of rewards, as you guys can see here, for new players, with returning players getting about 80% of all of that. Now, what does that mean? I'm just gonna say it, guys. I think regardless of who you are, whether you're free to play, you're a whale, if you start Epic 7 today, I think in a month worth of just free rewards, you now have enough resources to hit master rank guaranteed, if not champion rank. Because look what we get. We get 6 Hero Summon Selector 5-star guaranteed, 3 Hero Selectors, and on top of that, as a new player, you are getting 6 fully decked Hero Selectors. No official confirmations on what that means, but it should mean that your hero comes level 60, 6-star fully awakened, and plus 15, which is the biggest part, because Molagoras, the time-gated skill-up resource, is one of the biggest things gating new players from building units in the game. And now we are getting 6 5-star characters, which is about 200 Molagoras, and that's on top of still getting 120 Molagoras. So it is the best time to either be coming back or starting a new account, and this should let you play literally everything you could possibly want. And you know, on top of that, we'll be getting somewhere north of 14 5-star artifacts, all of these elemental summons, which should net us more 5-star characters, 160 Covenant bookmarks, and I believe this is like a low ball. They're giving us over 100 Moonlight summons over the course of this entire 2 months. And on top of that, we will be getting some guaranteed level 88 gear. So for new players, you get to skip out on having to do this crazy thing called gear farming, which so many people have just been stuck at. And it is not a good time if you don't like farming gear and going through the RNG. And just on top of that, we'll be getting so much resources to just let anyone play the game. Now, what does that mean? I think Smilegate is starting to realize that by year 6 of Epic 7, most people are here for the end game, which is real-time arena PvP. And it is why the game gets so many views, both on YouTube and Twitch, despite being the only game mode that gives out 0 rewards. So, instead of having new players grind through the older challenging part of the game, the old frontier, they're just going to rush you through it. It's like getting a level up pass when playing a old MMORPG, and they're just going to put you on the starting line so much closer to hitting that end game. And I fully intend to prove my point here, because starting today, the next time you see me on stream at twitch.tv/Valky, and also on this YouTube channel here, I will be posting near daily guides on the step-by-step on how a new player can use these resources in order to get themselves to master rank, where you can get the skin, which is the equivalent of, I believe, platinum in any other game. It's the rank above gold. Now, if everything goes well, the eventual goal is to be able to hit champion rank, where it would be like the diamond in other games off of just these new player resource and whatever we hit. And I came up with a couple of rules for this challenge for myself, since I am a streamer, and I want to make sure I don't have any perceivable advantage over new players. So I'm going to be starting the new account today, and we're speedrunning for Masters or Champion for RTA any percent. I'm not going to bother re-rolling because 1, I don't have the time for that, and 2, I really hope I low-roll just to show you guys what you can do with terrible luck. I'm not going to spend any amount of money on this account, duh. And obviously, I'm not going to add any friends from my main account, and I'm not going to add my main account either. I am going in with all the disadvantages that a new player would have if you are starting. And the only thing I have is my knowledge and maybe some streamer luck. I hope I don't get it. And of course, I'm not going to be joining any friends' guilds. We're going to make a completely new guild with just me and some friends. So I hope to see you guys there. It is a crazy good time to be playing Epic 7. We got so many teasers for the new skin as well, so that is going to be an insane time. So with that in mind, if you're a new player and you're kind of confused about exactly how much resources we're getting, and let me just phrase it this way, it is pretty much the first 5 years worth of rewards combined and then some on top. It is a lot. So I will be putting out a near day-to-day guide on a playthrough, play along, whatever you want to do, and I will be getting that account to decently high ranks in PvP. You can imagine that the baseline goal is to get it to platinum when it comes to, if you want to scale it to other games, and then get it to diamond. So that is our goal for this month. I'll be going through it with you guys step by step, showing you how to roll the gears, what kind of characters to equip, and on top of that, what characters you should be using these valuable selectors on. And not just for the new players, the returning players as well. I will do my best to make sure you guys are fully caught up, not only on what characters are valuable to completing the PvE parts of the game, but also to catch you up on modern and recent PvP knowledge as well. With all of these rewards and extra summons, I will be showcasing exactly, regardless of what unit we hit off of this guaranteed Moonlight 5-star, how to use the broken units on your account and construct a winning strategy around these units you get. So I hope to see you guys there for that one, but before I leave today, I do want to get into the buff patch notes. Alright, now that we've gotten all the rewards and stuff out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about the patch that we'll be getting, because there seems to be a lot of controversy here. I'm already really tired today, so I'm going to try too hard not to be harsh on people, but if you guys are curious why I'm taking a harsher tone than I normally would, especially towards the commenters on Stove, just know that I actually kind of agree with these guys. I think the buff patch is, it's not the best, but I do think these guys are angry for the wrong reason. So let's just get right into it. So first up is Judge Kisei. Judge Kisei's been reworked like 4 times. So she is one of those characters that has immense identity crisis. Before, I do believe the last iteration she was supposed to be an opener, and now I think she got more homogenized into a harder opener. Instead of needing souls to burn into her extra turn, she now gains 25% combat readiness per target hit, which kind of takes her out of Guild War, but now she can kind of act as a Faithless Lidica type opener where she's not the fastest, but if you do get her to be fast enough and you're drafting speed imprints with her, she will do a lot of damage. And I don't mean like physical damage, I mean she will strip all buffs, drop the defense breaks, and then also reset your opponent's cooldown so that they don't really have the ability to fight back. Now, she doesn't have the Faithless Lidica specialty of being able to hide behind Guiding Light, making her kind of weak to Zeo drafts, and her base speed isn't good, so I want to say I'm not too high on this unit and her seeing play, but honestly, we're going to have to really go along and see if somebody figures out a good draft, because that's how aggressive playstyles usually go. Somebody figures out a good draft, and suddenly you have the most desirable unit in the entire game. Lionheart Sirmia got a small rework. Her kit works almost exactly the same way, but now instead of fighting spirit, she gains just cooldowns. She's a fully cooldown reliant character where her ultimate starts on cooldown, and then her ultimate starts fully on cooldown of 4 turns, and then as you are defending against counter attacks or dual attacks or even extra attacks, she will fully reset her cooldown and then pop off. This is to fight her falling off because with Sea Phantom Politis and Elvira in the game, she just became very unplayable. Navy Captain Landy and Abyssal Euphine were like the main targets of those characters, but Lionheart Sturmia just kind of died by AoE, and they're just delineating them from that fighting spirit line so she doesn't randomly get nerfed, and now I think she can make a full comeback, although definitely not as strong, but this makes her much more playable. It kind of moves her from tier 4 to tier 2 to give you an idea of how strong I think she'll be. Okay. Up next, this is where the controversy is. Oh boy, I got into it with so many people on stream and in the DMs about this, but apparently everybody seems to think Pirate Captain Flan got nerfed. That can't be further from the truth. I really don't see where the nerf is, so let's get into it one by one. So the number one thing people complain about is the fact that she lost the buff steal. But when you attack somebody and they have a buff, you now activate a unique skill that will give you a buff that when you attack, it steals the buff at 100% rate. So she didn't really lose it. And now it's 100% rate because it doesn't say. And when it doesn't say, it is 100%. It's better than 75%. But some people are going to say, well, now it's on a cooldown. This is 3 turns cooldown, 2 turns uptime. It's a 67% uptime, which is not as good as 75. Well, here's the thing you got to think about 67. This is 67% for the entire team. And last time I checked, 67 multiplied by 4 is 270%, which, as far as I'm aware, math-wise, that is a huge buff. So the buff steal thing, huge buff, not a nerf, debunked. Okay. Second thing I've seen people really hammer on is she lost 50% effectiveness, man. Okay, well, now she also gains effectiveness buff to all allies. And last time I checked, that is exactly 50%. And, you know, before you start but it's on a 67% uptime. Hold up. That gives the effectiveness buff to all allies, which last time I checked, is now 200% effectiveness. So instead of gaining 50% gear score, she's gaining 200%, which last time I checked, going from 50 to 200 is a pretty big buff. And then people are also going to say, oh, but she lost 30% damage redirect, man. That's a... No, not really, because most of the time when you're playing Pirate Captain Flan, you're playing her not as, like, how do I say this? In most strategies, when people are playing Pirate Captain Flan, they're not playing her like 300 speed as an opener. Pirate Captain Flan was never the best 300 speed opener. She was never even the best 290 opener. She was never great as an opener, period. She was just playable as one because you could soul burn to steal like 1 immunity and then maybe bomb 2 to 3 units. And I feel like that's never a strategy you want to reliably use to try to finish top 1,000 or even top 100 or even top 1,000, right? Most players who finish Emperor who play Pirate Captain Flan can tell you, like, they play her in Standard as a sustained control unit. And on top of that, you know, you got the defense break and you let your team steal. And here's the really crazy part that I think, you know, people in the comments aren't really talking about. Brother, you activate a Blood Moon haste, you put Pillage on your Abyssal Euphine, my god, that girl is going to throat goat 45k worth of HP in barrier with just a single S1. And that doesn't even have to be on her turn. She could get it off of a counter attack. Like, it gives her so much team play possibility, and now she doesn't have a redundant way of mitigation. It's thematic because she's now in line with Navy Captain Landy. So if you're playing her like I am with a standard build and you're... Why did I DC from server? You know what? I'll just add it in post. If you're playing her like as a sustained character, she will do just fine. In fact, she will be 2 to 3 times better in keeping up with modern characters and modern amounts of like stacking buffs to protect their immunity. She will keep up with modern amounts of damage as well. Like, overall, it is a huge buff. Now, do I think she's going to be as broken as Death Dealer Ray? No, but I do think it's really funny that, you got people here, crying about, oh, you're gonna nerf a unit, let it be one that actually deserves it. Man, if you're gonna bitch about a unit, how about you bitch about a unit that actually deserve it? You don't understand your own unit at all, and you're trying to flex your build and your win rate. That's not how this works, okay? Like, it's so annoying to see Smilegate doing something that's a net positive and people still finding the wrong reasons to shit on it, because I think putting everything on a unique buff is kind of toxic. You can't strip it, you can buff block it. It doesn't interact well with the rest of the game, and I think it might, in some instances, make her a little bit too powerful. But, she's not played at all right now, so I'm not gonna even complain. I do like the unit, as you might or might not be able to tell with the way I look. So overall, it's an okay change, It makes her 2 to 3 times stronger. I could go deeper into the math about how defense break and critical hit resistance is much better than what she had before, but I'm sure you guys get the point, okay? Abigail. So, I hope you guys are seeing a theme at this point, right? Smilegate is trying to make character into specialists, and what that means is they need to be much more playable in RTA, where you draft them for one specific job. So now, in her case, Abigail, before, she had a lot of utility, but people didn't really know if you were supposed to play her kind of as a support with high HP, or you were supposed to play her as a bruiser with the utility. And Smilegate said, hey, don't worry about it. We'll make it so that it dispels all the buffs from the target, from your backline target that you're trying to protect with her passive, but it'll cost you some HP, which is actually really cool. I actually like that change a lot. It makes it so that her HP is now a resource, which can only be recovered if you're a bruiser. So it makes her very clear and gives player a clear direction on how you should be building her. And now on top of that, she also strips all the buff from an enemy before she attacks. And she gets 50 free effectiveness as well for just that attack specifically, which is something Bree got, and it did him a lot of favors. So now Abigail is a much clearer character that you should just build her as a decently speedy, high utility bruiser that exists to protect one backline unit. Great buff. I like that. After that, we got Alencia. So she got a couple of things that really changed up how she behaves. Number one thing is that now she can soul burn to ignore effect resistance, which will let her punch through much more tanky teams, which, if you are playing an injury character, you are always playing versus a tanky team. So ignoring their resistance just means you can go ahead, go balls to the walls with either damage or bulk, and build whatever you need. And speaking of building more damage, she also got 20% crit increase, which is crazy, because if you think about how long Apocalypse Ravi was dominant for, she was doing it solely off the fact that she got 30 crit for free. And I mean, we're 67% of the way there on top of everything. Now, Mind's Eye got a change that instead of getting 50 effectiveness for free, which was not something that was super helpful to playing Alencia, it's now just a built-in injury set, where you can injure someone up to 10% of their HP every time you hit them. And on Alencia as well, where she has an extra attack on the S2, she'll be hitting twice. And I would say this is really close to an injury set's worth of value, because I do believe on single target attack, injury is 12%, so off her S3, it's better than an injury set, and on the S1 and S2, it's almost as good as an injury set. So there's kind of two ways you can go about it. You can either go destruction set now for the pure combat stats, or stay on injury and just injure somebody by their entire HP bar every time you click S1 and it changes into your S2. Ooh, and actually one very interesting effect to note is that because they've completely taken her away from playing with this effectiveness stat, now her exclusive equipment gives her decreased combat readiness of target by 20%, whenever she uses her ultimate. That is a really compelling effect, because that means every time she drops the ult and she screams at them, the number one thing she does before that is she strips all of their buff, which is huge, because now you strip everything and push them back. Not only does it mean you can be very disruptive every time her ult is up, you can also play her really fast as an opener, because now she has all the combat stats she needs for free in the passive. That's actually really, really nice. So I actually expect her to make a small comeback in lower rank RTA. If you still have Death Dealer Ray, you still have Urban Shadow Shu, I don't suppose this becomes your automatic default option for injury. But if you don't, or if you're starting a new account like me, this will be a really nice unit to have. After that, Shooting Star Arcades, I don't really want to go deep in this unit, because there's people who play very unethically with Shooting Star Arcades in RTA, and I'm just not going to add to that strategy. Just know that giving her increased attack raises her consistency a lot, because, what makes a unit more viable than if you were to just use them and help your team kill your opponents faster? Attack buff. If you were to look at the artifacts, I think we saw a lot of impactful changes this buff patch, especially considering that we just got out of World, so I don't expect the team to be going, super crazy to it. 2 artifact changes. 1, Otherworldly Machinery, which is the free artifact you get from Yuna. You get 10 critical hit chance. That's always good. Never going to complain about that. And for Fan of Light and Dark, which is Ahmed's exclusive artifact, it's very limited. It's not very often used at all, but they did bump up the critical hit damage buff from 70% chance at max to 100% chance. I mean, I feel like artifacts like these, you need them at 100% for them to see usage. Otherwise, imagine, you're pulling for a 5-star artifact off a limited unit, and then you have to go through extensive setup just to have a chance to whiff. It feels really bad, so good to see them finally bump this up. But yeah, that's this patch. I kind of want to know what you guys think about all the rewards we're getting, because I know morale before this was relatively low, and suddenly they just gave us all the reward you could have possibly wanted, not only to start a new account, but also to come back to the game. Because if you look at even the returning player resources, this is a lot. They're giving us about 80% of what they would give a new player. So that's crazy. But yeah, I will be spending the next while making content for new players. So let me know what you guys are planning to do with these rewards. Hope to hear from you guys, but that's all I got from this video for now. Hope to see you guys in the next video, and I'll see you guys on twitch.tv/Valky, where we're gonna make new account of Master speedrun. See ya.